Okay, so next question here we have, which is based on the distribution of the oil reserves in the world. Question is the geographical explanation of the distribution of offshore oil, okay, of the world. तो मुझे पहले पार्ट में ऑफशोर ऑयल के बारे में बात करना है. Then how are they different from the onshore occurrences of oil reserves in the world? Now ये क्वेश्चन अगर हम थोड़ा सा बेटर अंडरस्टैंड करना चाहे तो how I can say this as, so in the Dugboy region I have oil reserve. So this is onshore. Okay, for example इसी तरीके से if I have a this as a continental shelf, अगर इस continental shelf में भी मेरे पास में कोई oil reserve है under this continental shelf वाला part, that will be also part of the onshore. उस continental shelf के बाहर अगर कहीं present है, for example Bombay High, it is present towards the other side of the we can say far away from the coastal part, not present on the continental shelf region. So this is the offshore oil field. India में ही हम देख सकते हैं, we have an onshore oil reserve and a offshore oil reserve. Okay. Now distribution of offshore oil reserve के बारे में we have to see that we need to see the world map. Okay. Now world map में what I will see here, now, under the world map, what I can see here, I can have predict certain regions where I can see the presence of the oil reserves over the offshore and onshore. For example, this Bombay High region, this is offshore. Okay. Then in the region of United States of America, we have certain regions which are offshore here. Okay. Here in this region of Middle Eastern part of the world. Okay. Here also we have very high presence of offshore oil reserve. Okay. Similarly, in the region of Venezuela, Colombo, we have presence of offshore oil reserve. But when I talk about the onshore oil reserve, okay, here we have certain regions in Russia, India, Digboy, okay, in the region of Africa, okay, in the interior part of South America, in the interior part of USA, we have the presence of onshore oil reserve. Now, what actually happens here, because of which we see that we have offshore reserves of oil and onshore reserve of oil. One thing I would like to specify here, that the petroleum, I'll take another here. Okay, what I'm saying here, that petroleum is generated in a certain favorable condition. Number one, it has to be present near the tropical region. Okay, it has to be present near the tropical region where it will be formed. We can see the region of India, we can see the region of Africa, we can see the region of North and South America. But we can see that there are also oil reserves which are present in Russia. So I will see here an exception of the temperate region. Where we see that there is high presence of the oil reserves. So I can connect this part, okay, I can connect this aspect with the continental and ocean movement. where around we can say 200 million years ago, the region of North America, Europe, and Russia was present in the tropical region, due to which those regions they see the presence of petroleum. Okay, so these regions I can specify that under the tropical region we have certain region of India, then we have Middle East, we have Venezuela, okay, and Africa, where we have high presence of oil in this region. The regions where we see that there is also presence of oil, which is beyond the tropical region, that is temperate region. Here it is formed around 200 million years ago, when those regions were present in the region of tropical region. Okay? You might have seen this in the continental drift, where we have seen the Angara land, the Gondwana land, okay, and the Pangaea. So these things we have studied. Now, when we move forward, I see that the petroleum it will always form in the saline water. Okay, so with the availability of saline water, we will see that there is formation of petroleum oil. So there is certain complex organic chemistry which is taking place with the saline water, and the saline water plus the organic residuals, which is resulting into the development of the petroleum. But here there can be an exception, that we can say that if the oil is formed in the saline water only, then why there is presence of onshore oil? For example, in the Digboi region of Assam, how there is presence of an onshore oil? Because it is found in the saline water region. So what event have happened here? What have actually happened in this region because of which the oil is found here? Okay. So here we'll be seeing that when this is the region of Eurasia and this is the Indian plate. So this Indian plate, when it was approaching the Eurasian plate, so the region which is present between this, okay, what I can see here, this is the region of Tethys Sea. Okay, this is the region of Tethys Sea. Now, when these plates collided actually, and there was formation of Himalayan mountain. There was formation of Himalayan mountain. Here we have the part of the Indian peninsula. Here we have the part of Indian peninsula. Let's correct this. So here we'll be seeing that there is a development of mountain ranges here like this. Okay. Now, if I draw the plate boundaries here, that is, this is the Eurasian part and this is the Indian part. And this is, here we'll be seeing that there is formation of the mountain. So under this zone, there was high presence of the biomass. Okay. This region of India, it was consisting of high biomass. Like it can be trees, it can be animals, it can be various other organisms which have subducted with the Indian plate below the Eurasian plate. Eurasian plate, and this is Indian plate. So here we see that the biomass is accumulated between the two plates. So the same thing I can see that the biomass is present between the Eurasian region part of plate and the Indian region part of plate, okay, which is present near the Digboi region. So because of this, we are able to identify that the Digboi region, it is consisting of the presence of onshore oil. Despite its formation which have taken place because of the presence of Tethys Sea, which was saline in nature, and this was subducted below the Indian plate and Eurasian plate, which have resulted into the development of the onshore oil field. Okay. So here I can see that the another factor which is adding to the development of this formation of petroleum, that is mass extinction. Under the mass extinction, we have seen that almost 80 to 90% of all the life, it is lost, and their organic remain. Their organic remains, they are buried under the saline water. Okay, so this mass extinctions we can see in the region of Venezuela, okay, Middle East, in the region of India, where the during the formation of Himalayas, okay, so these things or these events, they were consisting of very high biomass, and this biomass, it was converted with this process into the petroleum. Thus we see the presence of the Bombay High, okay, the Bombay High presence, which is an offshore Bombay High. Okay, the Bombay High region, this is an offshore region where we see the development of the offshore oil field. So with this process, we are able to identify the development of the petroleum, which is majorly seen in the region of tropical region, and exception is temperate region, but that can be explained on the basis of the plate tectonics and the continental drift model, where the presence of Pangaea, okay, the northern part of Pangaea, which was contemporary time, the region of consisting the region of Russia, Europe, and North America, was present near the tropical region. Okay. After that, we see that the development of this saline water, where we see that there is development of petroleum with respect to organic residue. Then we can see the mass extinctions are resulting into the development of this. The burial of the organic remain, which is part of a biomass and which is undergoing complex organic reactions under the saline water. And here we see the presence of Venezuela, Middle East, and Himalayan region. We have the development of petroleum. Okay. So by this, we can explain here the major topics or the major points which can be seen for the development of the geographical explanation for the distribution of offshore oil fields of the world. And we have also explained that how the onshore oil fields are also different and how they are occurring in the land. Okay, so this also we are able to explain by the process of subduction process, by the process of mass extinction. Okay, so these processes we can add up here for the development here. Okay. Now, one thing what we can also add here, like the sedimentary basin. For example, this is land and this is water. Okay, this is land and this is water. So here what we are seeing here, that there is accumulation of certain sediments here and the biomass is moved to a particular region. For example, I'll be saying that in this region there is biomass is, but over the time period what I'm seeing here, that there is a continuous deposition of sediments over these regions. There is a consistent deposit of sediments over this region. So this is resulting into excessive pressure over this region. Okay, and because of this there is high heat and temperature. and this is resulting into the development of petroleum, which is first offshore. Okay, this is first offshore. Now, one example can happen here. One thing can happen here, that is, there can be tectonic upliftment. There can be tectonic upliftment. We have seen this under the catastrophic forces. Under the diastrophic forces, we have aperogeny. Okay, we have aperogeny. Under this aperogeny, what is happening? The forces are being brought from the interior of Earth, and this region, it will start to uplift and it will come out of the ocean. How it will be seen, how it will be done, we can see it here. So here I will be seeing the first layer which was formed, it was like this. Then the second layer which was formed was like this. The third layer we can see here, it is like this. Fourth layer we can see here is almost like this. Okay, and beneath this point, we have the accumulation of the petroleum. Now, here I can see that this petroleum, it was initially offshore. Okay, here it was offshore, but because of this aperogenic process, now the water, this region, it has come out of water, and this is the water region, sea. Okay, sea is now at the other end, and this has come outside the water, so now it has become onshore oil field. So through this process also we are able to define and explain that how there is change in an offshore oil field to a onshore oil field. So this can also be very well explained here. Okay. So are you able to understand the processes through which the oil fields are first formed? Okay, that is offshore. Then there is plate tectonic movement and formation of mountains. It is also resulting into the development of the onshore oil field. Then how an offshore oil field, it can be converted into an onshore oil field. So we see that during the, we can give an example here, that is during the formation of Alps and Appalachian. Okay, during the formation of Alps and Appalachians, there was the Eurasian plate, okay, and the African plate, it moved towards each other, and there was upliftment in the region in this part, in both the parts, where the various oil fields which were present as a offshore, they have converted into. Okay, so here we see that we have the presence of the Middle East region. So under the Middle East region, where we have majority of the fields, oil fields, which are onshore oil fields. So they have become onshore oil fields because of this process. Okay, so we can explain those aspects. So the distribution of onshore and offshore, it is very important for us to understand that what mass extinction have taken place, where the biomass, which kind of biomass was present in the region, and how it have converted into the fossil fuel. Okay, how it have converted into fossil fuel, so that for future we can identify such resources and we can have a better planning for the energy. Okay, so on this note, we can end this topic here for this. Okay, any questions, any doubts? Simple, can understand it well here. So this is a question on the distribution of offshore oil and the onshore oil. Okay. Now, going to the next question. Now the question here is, how can artificial intelligence and drones can be effectively used along with GIS and RS techniques, locational and aerial planning?